What's up, everybody? Welcome to episode 248 of Opinions May Vary. I am your host, JR. I think I have my co-host with me, Alex.
I'm here. I fooled you.
Oh man, if we sound funny, it's because we're doing this in a funny way.
It's
Because
very humorous.
because I'm at home, and Alex is also at home, and I'm not where we usually go to record because I'm at home, and it's kind of weird. This is one of the most. Is this how our guests feel?
Yeah, yeah. Every time,
Like just talking to themselves in a room. Like
except they've
my face is red right now because like for some reason I'm feeling like like bashfulness, embarrassment. I don't know.
but they've never met us before,
It's
or
true. This is a
and sometimes they've never known what our show is unless they research us.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. Like that's why it's cool sometimes when they're like, "Hey, I listened to a couple episodes and you guys aren't like really awful people or anything like that." Because like every now and then I get like this existential dread that's like, oh my God, like can you imagine how weird it is to just get an email out of the blue from someone you've never met being like, hey, come on my podcast that you've never heard of. Like let us grill you for, let us take time out of your day. So I got to give it up to everyone who has said yes to us.
Hmm.
You are all rad people. And to all the future people who also say yes to us. But anyways, we got a lot of snow. A lot of snow. First big one of the year because
Hmm.
we live in New England, so snow. So I'm currently sitting at home, and Alex is sitting at his home, and we're doing this like satellite. Alex is man on the board, and
Hmm.
he's probably doing a fantastic job of it.
We'll see.
No guest this week because snow. We're winging it. Fuck it. Oh, that was man. I'm loose right now. I'm feeling loose. So let's talk. Well, since in celebration of uh, the cultural phenomenon that is Star Wars. The new Star Wars Rogue One just came out. In celebration of that, let's talk about comic books
I realized how you
because
got
we
there.
haven't. Because we haven't talked about comic books in a while, and while we were trying to brainstorm, we were talking about like hate reading, or not hate reading, but like fizzling and all that stuff. Because you had an example of a book that you had read.
Yeah, there's a trade paperback that I got like volume one of from a friend because they had to get rid of stuff and they were going to move and downsize. You know, like I'm selling a bunch of comics now. I was like, I'm interested,
I
and
read comics.
I know what are comics. And so I bought volume one off this guy. And this is a book from Image. It's called Zero, and it's by Alice Cott. And there's 5 illustrators. I'm not sure if it's,
Five.
yeah. Well, in the trades, so I believe like there's a different illustrator every issue. But I haven't checked to see if that carries over to the other volumes.
Very similar to what Max Landis did for Superman American Alien,
Hmm.
where it was 7 issues and every issue had a different artist with
Mm-hmm.
like, and it was a lot of name like uh oh shit, who I forgot his name recently. Francis Manpaul did one of them.
Mm-hmm.
The last issue was drawn by Jock, who is amazing,
Mm-hmm.
and Max Landis has worked with him in the past, so I don't know if that was like a planned, like Jock is going to be like the penultimate issue, but
Mm-hmm.
um so yeah, anyways, continue.
But there are like a bunch of other. There's big names that contribute sections or parts or like a cover here or there. Um, but volume one, I really dug. It was very much like a spy thriller, but it was one of those stories of as a child, a person is raised to be part of this agency, and there's like a bunch of other children in this class, and they're all going to be groomed to be these amazing agents as they grow up. And you like go on a mission with him, and like one of his classmates grows up, and they're both on this mission, but like didn't know they were going to be there, and there they are. And it ended like in kind of a cliffhanger. And at in between issues, there's like some extra content where it's not just like illustrated page. There's like mission report from his superior, and that's like as if it's on a text page, like he's actually reporting it. And all this has been like pretty cool to me, and I'm like, I dig it. the art's not something I'm used to. It's not like a superhero book. Some of it's kind of scratchy, and there's some cool fight scenes. There's good action moments, but like you still get the feeling of who knows each other and how their expressions go. Because like when the main character has to like talk to a superior, like he doesn't share everything he normally should, and the way he's drawn, you know, it's expressed in his face. It's like this. I'm really digging this, and so with that, I buy the other 3 volumes because there's 4 volumes of this series. It came out in the end of 2014 and into 2015, and it's by Image if I didn't say it already. But volume 2, it's still doing spy stuff and agent things, and it's getting a bit deeper. And there's like a couple more mysteries that are showing up, and you don't really know where they're going to go. And then by volume 4, it is completely not what it was at volume 1, because it's like there's no more agency. His superior agent has died. I think he got shot, but you don't know what else is going on, because now you're experiencing other people's lives and what could have happened and what his reality could have been. And there's a couple pages where it's like he's living on a farm with a family, and then there's a few pages where it's the future, and the next young agent is about to kill him to take his place, but it's like a child and he's missing an eye, and you're like, when did he lose an eye? And he's looking out over this field, and there's like giant alien brain tentacles harvesting some kind of field, and you're like, when did they show up? And there's this whole thing about there was this bunker he had to investigate, and the bunker had some kind of fungus in it, and the fungus is what changes you and makes you see other worlds. That's not what was happening in volume 1. None of that was a thing. And there was no like foreshadowing these other elements from volume 1 or volume 2. So I got to volume 4 and I'm like, I hate where this has gone. I wanted to read about this James Bond kind of dude, and that's not what I'm getting right now. But I'm like forcing myself to finish it. It's the kind of book where it's like, I want to put it down. I just want to give up, but I've made it this far and I don't want to be a quitter. You know? And it's
like refusing to quit, like in Overwatch. Like the other team's about to get the payload there, and you know you're gonna lose, but it's like, you know what? I'm gonna see this through.
I'm gonna do my best.
And you also, at least when you finish a match in Overwatch, you get experience.
Mm-hmm.
When you hate finish a book, it really the odds are against you, and that you're probably just gonna be even more upset.
Yeah, there was like no payoff for me on this, and it's
right.
If you ever have a chance to read Zero, don't, because I mean, if you read Trade 1, just quit there, just stop, because this way you're not like too invested in it, and you're like, oh, that was an interesting read, but trust me, you don't want to see where any else of it goes. Like, I'm telling you to forget. There's 3 more volumes to this. Just, if anything, just do the 1, but don't do any of it. There's other books out there to read besides this one. I'm sorry to say it. Like, people put a lot of hard work into it, and the writer worked really hard to organize so many artists and to get it out there and to make it happen. And like, I don't know if it went in that direction on purpose or if that was the intent the whole time, but it missed a lot of marks for me. It just
right. It started as one thing, and you liked that thing, and then it turned into a different thing.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I guarantee you, there's some people out there who are like, hell yeah, that was the shit. But
and like, I have a comparison where it's a similar kind of thing, but it's also a person that does this kind of thing all the time, and I usually hate when they do it. Let me check real quick on my database.
Oh, I thought you were going to say like Colin or something.
There's this book called The Nameless that Brett and I were both reading.
Isn't that Chris Burnham and Grant Morrison?
Yeah, that's what I wanted to check to make sure I didn't get that wrong.
Because I remember it. Yeah, I remember when the first issue came out. A lot of people were talking about that one.
Yeah, that's Grant Morrison. So I think by issue 1 and then into issue 2, I believe there's 6 total. By issue 2, like I could see where they were going with it, and I like understood basically the whole concept, and I was like, oh my God, I love this book. Like, this is right up my alley. This book is the entire alley. Like, I'm enjoying this because there's things happening, but then there's alternate things happening. There's a person who has like weird magic instincts kind of thing, and it's in outer space. And weird outer space alien stuff like holds a nice key in my heart. And and I really dug where it was going. But the thing is, like, it got weirder as it went on, but it still maintained the same purpose and the same storyline. It eventually did wrap up, and you're like, well, okay. I could see how, yeah, all right. It's not like it finished and you're like, what was this shit? I hate it. It's like you could see how they got to the ending. It wasn't a complete, like, psych out or anything. It was a good ending. Like, there's times where you just want it to stay on the same track, you know? Like
right.
the term go off the rails, because that's usually a bad thing. And, like, it took you on a really weird journey, but, like, it got to the ending that made logical sense from when you started. But a lot of times Grant Morrison loses me because he thinks he's doing something really intelligent, or I don't know what's going through his head besides, I don't know, a bunch of drugs or something. But one of my complaints about Grant Morrison is, like, when he writes good stuff, it's pretty good. But then there's times where he writes stuff and, like, he loses me because I get confused and I get lost. And, like, when I read Batman, I shouldn't be confused while reading Batman. Unless there's some amazing mystery, unless he, like, detectives something out that I can't really follow, but, like, it makes sense because, like, I'm not Columbo, so he detectives it through. And, like, no, that's cool. I'm okay with that. Oh, was the Calendar Man the whole time? Great. But when it goes somewhere else, like, I should pretty much get Batman. He finds the bad guys and beats them up and stops the thing from happening. That's how it should go. And Grant Morrison takes it in way different directions sometimes. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Yeah. I have a similar, like, as you brought that up, it brought back pings of one of the only Grant Morrison books that I've ever read in The Death and Return of Bruce Wayne,
Mm-hmm.
which was early in my comic book career. Like, when I started reading comics, Batman was, spoilers here, Batman was dead. Like, I got in just after Final Crisis, so, like, Batman was dead at this point, and, like, kind of Green Lantern was, like, the thing, like, the go-to.
Mm-hmm.
And then they did The Death and Return of Bruce Wayne with Batman spiraling through time instead of actually being dead. And I remember being really excited because Batman was coming back and it was going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Or Bruce was coming back, rather, because Batman was Dick Grayson, which I liked. Batman and Robin I thought was fantastic, which, again, was Grant Morrison. And then, I mean, we've talked about it, and, like, I've mentioned my disdain for Death and Return of Bruce Wayne. Like, it just, to me personally, like, maybe I was just too naive, not naive, but, like, green in my comic book career.
No, it wasn't you.
But oh man, I did not like that book. It made zero sense to me. It's like time travel gobbledygook, you know? It's just easy way to erase canon is to just use time travel.
But I mean, there's good time travel stories out there.
Yeah. Yep. Like Invincible. Spoilers. What? Did you not like the reboot? Did you read the reboot yet?
I did. So the thing with, for me, the thing with time travel, the problem's with Invincible. For me, the problem with the Invincible book, it's so, how do I put that? It's not that I don't like the story or I don't like what's happening or I don't like the characters. I it's not where I want them to be right now, and I want Mark to be happy. So I want Mark to be able to go back and just fix everything and start over.
Right. Right.
Like, I don't want him to be missing for years due to some time monster. I just want the things to happen how they're supposed to happen to Mark.
Well, I mean, as we've shown time and time and again, Robert Kirkman is just a shining example of someone who does exactly what you want to do. Oh wait, that was that was sarcasm. That was sarcasm, by the way. Robert Kirkman's really good at fucking you up. I don't know how the public currently feels about Robert Kirkman. I guess I haven't really been paying attention, but I personally feel he's one of the best writers out there, despite the fact that he does so much and pretty much, I don't want to say he runs Image, but he's pretty high up there. And he still churns out, Walking Dead's in the 160s, 150s, 160s. I can't remember. Invincible's in the 120s, something like that. Like, I mean, to have two books both at the same time being 100 plus issues and like still have pretty large fandoms. I mean, especially Walking Dead. I mean, I'm sure the TV show helps, but I'm still like I like what I, especially because of Negan. But like Walking Dead really got drawn out of like a funk for me. Once Negan hit. I was like, oh my god, this book is interesting again.
I came back to Walking Dead and I picked it up, I think, on season 4, and this was like before Halloween this year, like sometime this past summer, and I did like volume 4, 5, 6 because I think they're on 7 now. So I got to watch on Netflix and watch like Negan show up, and
Right, which I will say like, because I'm one of the people who's like, oh yeah, I read the book, I don't watch the show, but like I will absolutely Google like Negan scenes. I'm like, okay, that's cool.
I had to look up who said it. It was William Faulkner who said you have to kill your darlings.
Right.
In writing, you must kill your darlings. Stephen King followed that by saying, even when it breaks your egocentric little scribbler's heart, kill your darlings.
I mean, a lot of people say that Joss Whedon is like the king of that. Like, he's really good at just ripping your heart out. Like my first experience with the Joss Whedon was Coulson in Avengers.
It's almost as if he probably does. He purposely like sets up a character to be one of your favorite characters, because the plan the entire time is to be to kill him eventually. It's like that's who it's going to be.
But as far as
there's
books,
a meme of like, don't tell Joss who your favorite character is.
Yeah, you honestly can't, because he'll fucking kill him. But like, even if like, you can't even be mad most of the time. Although I've never watched Serenity, but I want to now after watching movies with Mikey on it.
It's not that hard. It's not like a difficult watch.
I know. I'm just being irrational. I'm just straight up. I'll be the first to admit it. But as far as books that fizzled, I have a couple examples, but I don't have nearly as much actual substance behind my reasoning as you did, because you're smart and I can't come up with stuff like that. It really just comes down, for me, it just comes down to like, yeah, I got bored with it. But like, one of the main examples of a book that like I loved, and like I loved it for a while, and then it just kind of like, fizzle is the word. It just kind of was like meh, and I haven't even finished it, which I mentioned when we were talking about this pre-show. Like, I guess it could be unfair, because for all I know, the ending could be absolutely batshit amazing. And I think it's over. I'm pretty sure it's over. But that was the Boys.
Oh. Like,
I remember when John York first told me about The Boys, I was like, holy shit, that sounds amazing. And like, it was bloody and gory, and they swore a lot, and they just messed with people. I really liked it. It was like one of the first books, because like up until then I'd been reading like Green Lantern and Justice League and stuff, and then like, a couple issues into The Boys, like there's blowjobs and like I was like, oh shit, you can do this in comics too. Like I didn't even know that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but like the boys is just so rad to begin with, and then like I think I got 5 or 6 trades in, and I was like, okay, I'm kind of bored with this, and like, not to mention it's what Dynamite I think,
Yeah.
and I think they charge like 20 something dollars for a trade,
Yeah.
a paperback like a floppy trade with like 4 or 5 issues, and I'm like, I can't even justify like if I'm not even digging the book that hard, like it's hard to justify spending that much money on it.
I'm behind on it. Like I want to keep reading, but I just haven't kept up with it. I'm up to trade 11. I'm not sure how many.
I didn't even know it went that far. Jesus Christ.
Oh yeah, it keeps going after this too. But like you said, it's what's holding me back is the price. Like I'm
Yeah.
gonna wait to find like someone selling secondhand ones or used copies maybe, because
Or
there's.
even digital, if there's like a comicsology. I don't know if does Dynamite do comicsology? Do they do digital at all?
I
I
think
can't remember.
I think they do. But like yeah, the story wasn't worth the price.
Yeah, it was a bummer too because man, did I devoured that book when I first started reading it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and as far as like other examples of fizzling for me, and these I know this is not going to be a popular one here, but for me personally, my personal opinion
Mm-hmm.
and yours might vary. I got really close to my mic there.
It sounded good though.
For me, a good fizzle was Civil War. Like when I read Civil War, like back
Okay.
before the movie, like I read it. I can't remember, like maybe 2 years ago. I finally picked it up and I was like, oh hey, I like Steve McNiven and I like Mark Millar.
Mm-hmm.
Like this should be good.
Mm-hmm.
And like it was pretty great and the art was incredible. Don't get me wrong. Oh my
Mm-hmm.
god, that's some of the best art I've ever seen. But like, it just felt so abrupt. It's like, and there's gonna be spoilers here. You'll have to mind me. But it was like Cap and Iron, they're fighting and they're fighting and they're fighting, and Cap's entrenched in his views, and Iron Man's entrenched in his views, and they're fighting and they're fighting, and then Cap's like, yeah, I guess you're right, and then just kind of gives up.
Yeah. Yep.
It's like, what the fuck was the point of all of that? Yeah, well, okay, lock me up and then kill me, apparently. Because he got assassinated like right after that, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
And then you know
Okay.
what he did?
He came back.
Traveled through time.
He spiraled through time. Who wrote that one?
Do you want me to check? I could check.
Oh God, I thought you just knew.
No, I don't. I don't know.
We'll just say it was Grant Morrison.
It wasn't Grant Morrison.
It's probably safe. It's a safe bet though.
It's not.
Most people would probably be like, I could see that.
No, but I feel it was done well.
The time travel.
Yeah.
Is it what like Death and Return of Bruce Wayne should have been? What came out first?
Oh, Captain America Reborn. I feel like they came out at really close times together. All right, so his return was from 2009 to 2010.
That is really close.
Yeah. So
When
what happened was, so the Batman version was that like through absolute history, like caveman, pilgrim pirate, whatever, like someone was being Bruce Wayne, being Batman person. So you
right.
had
For the record, it was 2010.
Okay.
Return of Bruce Wayne was 2010.
But like this thing had to start getting written at maybe almost the same time.
Right. So they're on top of each other.
Yeah.
Anyways,
who was the writer? Brian Hitch did a lot of the art. Oh, Ed Brubaker.
did the Captain America one?
Yeah, he was the writer. So for some reason, Batman was like throughout history in the past was being Bat Pilgrim and Bat Pirate and Bat Caveman, whereas Steve Rogers was still being Steve Rogers. So his current day mind after Civil War was just like thrusted into his World War II body. So it's like,
Right.
so like he's experiencing himself the first time he's fighting Red Skull, and then he had to like re-experience the like losing Bucky, you know.
Yikes.
Yeah, and so there's a lot of like those elements, and so that's what the 6 issues of Captain America was him traveling and be like, well, I could do something different and like still try and save Bucky and keep him from dying this first time, but is that my place? Am I supposed to do that? And then, so there's a lot of choices being made and how this reflected the future and what he became and what everyone else eventually became, and if he even should do anything differently. And then you got to see like the original Baron Zemo and stuff like that. So it made a bit more sense to me because it's not like he was a completely different person. He wasn't,
Right.
I mean, he wasn't, you know, like for some reason just happened to be existing in medieval Europe. It's like, oh, it's
just for the hell of it.
It's dark.
What if Captain America was actually steampunk? Maybe.
It's Dark Ages Captain America. Look out for the plague rats. Good thing is his super
Shield. Comics. It's probably going to happen at some point.
He has his super Templar serum. That's what I was looking for. A Templar.
Templar jokes.
You're right. So the end of Civil War. Like, yeah, it's the cop and the fireman like tackle Cap and be like, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "Oh shit, yeah, you're right." But I have to say, have you ever looked up "I Don't Need Your Civil War"?
I Don't Need Your Civil War.
Yep. I may have talked about it in the past. I believe it's the same one. MightyGodKing.com. Either copied digital files or scanned every page. What he did was
Is he the one who like redid the dialogue?
Yeah. He redid all the word bubbles.
Yeah, you sent that to me. It's fucking hilarious.
It's almost better than the story itself. And it's just like, oh, he has characters say like what you are thinking anyway, and it's so good. I just jarred myself. So, what do you like about it? It's so good.
It's so good.
But it's funny, and a lot of like history of the characters are kind of brought out that might not get mentioned, because there's a creepy thing where Sue Storm and Johnny Storm were on the side of they were on Cap's side, but they had to like be in disguise so they wouldn't get caught. And so like they're doing this really creepy like boyfriend girlfriend thing, even though they're brother and sister, and they're like, yeah, we're just acting. And it was in like, but they addressed that in this redub. And when they actually call Clone Thor Chlor, and when he's about to do his blast, like his giant word bubble, instead of saying like "have at thee" or Odin's son or anything like that, it just says 20 go to 10, because that's a code thing. Because it's some kind of coding thing, because he's a robot.
Of course.
Sue Storm goes to talk to Namor to get his help with the Atlanteans to fight, Iron Man and stuff, and they're like, "Where's Sue been?" And she's like, "Oh, she went to talk to Namor, but when she came back, she was walking funny. I don't know what's up about that."
Oh no!
But that like it's the history of like Namor's already had a crush on Sue, and when she's pissed at Reed, she goes and hangs out with Namor. We're not going to say what goes on, but
it's kind of like in a way, it's like the abridged like Dragon Ball Z, but with comics.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not just the primary issues, because he takes from the expansion issues too, because there's a lot of offshoots and a lot of like, like the X-Men Civil War miniseries and Spider-Man Civil War, and they all had like other sections. But it was, look up like the Civil War redub. Mighty God King.
It was really good. It was funny as hell.
It was. And like the ending,
that was one of those things.
It didn't feel like a letdown because he made a joke out of it.
What else was a fizzle?
Let's see. I think I've talked about it before. I didn't like the finish of Siege while we're on Marvel Giant crossovers. Because
Siege was like the big one, yeah?
Siege was a good one. Because I collected a lot of Civil War, and then I collected a lot of Siege. But for me, the thing about Siege was between Civil War and both of them, because the Thunderbolts program expanded a lot in Civil War, because they're like, we have to hunt down the people that aren't registered, and Norman Osborn was like, hey, if you register, you can hunt the good guys. So all the bad guys are like, really? We get free reign to go hunt people? And it's like, yup, become a Thunderbolt. You just got to register. So Doc Ock joins the team and shit, and that's why I was on board with that. So Siege kind of follows that up, because after Civil War came Secret Invasion, because everyone was weak and then Cap wasn't there to fight the Skrulls, and then Osborn beats the Skrulls because he kills the Queen, and they're like, well, let's put Osborn in charge of everything because Tony Stark failed us. So now Osborn's running S.H.I.E.L.D. and he turns that into Hammer, and he promotes his Thunderbolts into the Dark Avengers. And now he's doing shit with the Dark Avengers, and then
that sounds like stuff that's literally, it's like they're like, what would Alex like?
And so they orchestrate a reason to attack Asgard, which at the time was floating over Kentucky.
Oh yeah, of course.
Because Norman is like, how do I maintain my power? How do I keep in place? Am I losing my edge? And I think it was Loki who's like, hey, attack Asgard. That's a good idea.
Classic Loki.
And so that's kind of how it culminates, because Norman Osborn finds all these different things to do and try and get this shit to happen. And again, there's a lot of crossover books, and there's a lot of explaining other stuff that's happening. But he's been controlling the Sentry, who a lot of people hate the Sentry. I kind of dig him for the reason a lot of people hate him. But he's got a two personality thing, because he's a normal dude named Bob who got powers, but he forgot he had powers, and that's where he sprung up out of nowhere, and that's one of the things a lot of fans hate. But he's basically Superman with the power of 1,000,000 exploding suns. But as long as the Sentry's here,
I love the clarification on that. Not just 1,000,000 suns, exploding suns.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Those suns are in the process of exploding.
That's how powerful he is. But one of the big problems with Sentry is that whenever he's around, he also manifests an evil version who's just as powerful, called the Void. And so one of the reasons he likes to stay Bob is so that the Void will never show up. But as long as the Void's not there, he can't be the Sentry to do good things. And so Osborn just spends issues and issues manipulating him. And Namor pisses off Osborn at one point, and Osborn's like, Bob, go to Atlantis. Or go to one of the undersea colonies. And he's like, okay, you need Sentry? He's like, no, Bob, I don't need Sentry. I need the Void to go. Bring back one. and it's like, what are you doing? Osborn, no. So in the middle of this battle of Osborn's making his Avengers fight Asgard, but the Secret Avengers, who are still good guys, are like, no, that's a bad idea, but to go stop them. So they go to fight the Dark Avengers too. So there's Asgardians, there's good Avengers, there's bad Avengers, they're all fighting, and the evil Thunderbolts are all there, everyone's fighting. And at one point, Loki's like, yo, Void, check it out. So now Sentry becomes Void. Sentry rips Ares in half.
What?
Absolutely kills Ares, because Ares was one of the cool guys on it. He's new to Marvel and everything. Well, he wasn't too new. But he goes in the team, because there was a point where Bendis was like, I'm going to bring back thought bubbles now. And Osborn was trying to make his new Dark Avengers team, and who was he talking to? I think he was talking to Victoria Hand or somebody. And he's like, well, we need a Thor, and we need a Wolverine. And someone else was like, you need a Wolver Thor or a Thorverine? And I know a guy, and that's when they pick up Ares because he's giant and strong and has really sharp things to cut people with. So they put him on the team, and like eventually he turns on Osborn because like he's convinced that like they're not doing the right thing, and so Sentry just shows up and just tears him in half. Spoiler alert.
That sounds like intent, because it's not like Ares is a god or anything.
Right. I mean, there's a million exploding suns there, so I don't know how many exploding suns Ares has.
I guess it's a good indicator of how strong a million exploding suns truly is.
I spent a lot of time like building this up, but I wanted to explain. I encourage people to read. Like the whole thing, it was enjoyable. But like so, Thor has to stop Sentry now because Sentry's kind of doing the void thing, and like no one else can stop him. Everyone's powerless, and so Sentry hits him with lightning, and it's like no effect. It's like playing Pokemon. It's like use Thunderbolt, no effect. Use Lightning Bolt, no effect. Thunderwave, no effect. Nothing's happening to Sentry. It's not working. And then Thor hits him with lightning one more time, and he dies.
And was it different lightning?
It wasn't. It really wasn't. Like, I mean, people try to explain to me, it's like, well, they were talking and it convinced him to, like, let himself die. And I was like, no, they didn't. He would, if he did, he convinced him in, like, one page. And I don't think that's really enough. Meanwhile, in Secret Warriors, Nick Fury brought his team to go fight because he was doing the Secret Warriors thing. And he had Ares' son, Phobos, who's like the god of fear, but he's still like an adolescent kid. And Nick's like, no, you stay behind. This is a fight for adults. People are going to die, so stay here. Meanwhile, Ares has already died. And I really wanted Phobos to show up because he has this like this stare of fear. Like he looks in your eyes and makes you scared. He hit Norman Osborn with it. He tried to hit Nick Fury with it, but it didn't work. Because Nick's like, I've seen some shit. It was awesome.
So essentially, Nick Fury isn't afraid of anything.
Pretty much. He's
that
already
is
seen
like
it.
The raddest character like development point I've ever heard.
It was. That was really cool. And so what I wanted to see happen was like Phobos just like show up in his own Quinjet out of nowhere and like put the fear on Sentry Void Bob because that would work.
Right.
He makes you afraid of your deepest, darkest fears. And Sentry's whole thing is being afraid of letting the void out. And the void is currently out. And so he's currently doing the thing he's afraid of and hates the most. And so like this child showing up who's been built up to be like he's going to be the next hero. He's this developing god. We're going to make him into something cool in the Marvel Universe. Throw him into that moment and have him be the hero and have him be the one that stops, the thing that no one else can stop. Like Thor can't stop him, Captain America, nothing's happening. But at this point, both Caps are back, by the way, and they're both fighting. It's great. I have an original page of the two of them fighting Taskmaster. It's awesome. And so there was some kind of decision where that's not what was going to happen because they needed to build up Thor some more. And because he was making a big comeback. And they're like, nope, we're just going to hit it with lightning one more time. And just leave Phobos. And like right now, do you know where Phobos is? I don't know where he is. I have no idea what happened to him since then. Not a clue. Unless
Phobos is in Thor or Old Man Logan, I have no idea where Phobos is.
And so I was kind of let down. But that's the kind of thing of like, that's what I wanted to happen. And I wanted to see it written well, and I wanted to see it illustrated. Because I think as far as all the character development goes, that would have been the best result.
Right.
I don't know if like other people have the same theory or not, but I was just let down by like, no, we're just going to make Thor do it, and that'll be the end of the thing. And I'm like,
Comic books.
Okay, I told you about one that I was looking up before. And I was like a thing that because not only it's something that lets you down at the end, but also something that you hate read. Did we get to that yet?
Right. We have not. I was about to start touching on hate reading.
Do you have a hate read?
I have a couple hate reads. Actually, I have more hate reads than I do have fizzles.
Okay. The one I was gonna hit you with. Marvel Zombies.
Yeah, I read the first trade,
Yeah. So like the
like
first
that,
series was good.
and that was Robert Kirkman, I believe.
Yeah, yeah. But then like series 2 through 6 just progressively got worse.
Yeah, I even the original one, like it was an interesting story, and obviously it took off. Like people loved Marvel Zombies. There was a
Mm-hmm.
huge fandom behind that for a while. Um, but like right off the bat, and we're gonna touch on a little bit of spoilers here. Right off the bat, when Magneto was like like you just see him get annihilated.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, that I didn't really dig that too much because like it's like they made it look really easy. I mean, it was a lot of superpowered people going up against one person, but
Mm-hmm.
like Magneto's hyped sometimes to just be one of the most incredible like
Yeah.
um he's a class 4 or whatever the fuck it was from X3.
He's Omega.
Yeah, he's a real bad dude. And then like at the end, like when they take down Galactus with their cosmic power gun,
Yeah.
I'm like, what is and then like that then they all have the power cosmic and all
Mm-hmm.
that stuff. Like
I think Hulk
and then
Hulk
they
just
started
bites Silver Surfer's head off.
yeah, he literally bit Silver Surfer's head off. And it's like how is like I get that Hulk has a really strong jaw, but like his teeth also like super powered and like he's rotting away. Like,
Yeah. It's the Silver
they
Surfer
evidenced
though.
it. Yeah, like they evidenced it with Wolverine when he tried to claw someone, and like his adamantium skeleton's still strong as ever, but
Yeah.
like his body is rotting away.
Mm-hmm.
So that I don't know, like it was an interesting idea, but I guess the idea of all like these amazing superheroes that I grew up like looking up to, like
Yeah.
just killing each other and eating each other.
Mm-hmm.
But it was, I mean, and it spawned like such a huge. I think John Layman, who wrote Chew, I think he wrote one of the
I think he
at
did the
least one
Machine
of
Man one, maybe.
I think he also may have done Army of Darkness versus Marvel Zombies or something. I can't remember. We're both googling, I think.
Oh, well, he did Chew. If you
Let's
didn't know that,
see.
yeah, he did do Army of Darkness and Marvel Zombies.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, apparently he also did Sentinel One. No shit. Anyway, back to the show.
But yeah,
There was
as far as like
in Volume 2, I think there was a point where, unless that was Volume 1, someone like comes back from a mission because they're all zombies right now, and like somebody reaches into their stomach and like takes out a piece of meat and eats it again, and
that's the first one.
and I forgot. I think it was like Bruce Banner, like maybe Yellow Jacket or somebody, and they're like, "What'd you just do?" And it's like, "Oh, I realized that if we did cut a hole in our stomach, and when we eat stuff, we could just take it out of our stomach and eat it again, and this way maybe we don't feel quite as hungry, but we still kind of do." And whoever it was like, "Oh my god, give me a knife." And like, "No, we've got work to do." He's like, "Screw the work, give me a goddamn knife. I'm gonna do this right now."
Because like the premise is like they're all just constantly starving.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which drives because like they don't necessarily want to kill all their friends,
Right.
because like there's zombies, but they're like still themselves.
Yeah, yeah. They can
They're
talk
walking,
and they have
talking.
intelligent thoughts and everything.
Yeah, they're still the same person. It's just they have the incessant desire for flesh and
Mhm.
not their own, which apparently the zombies taste disgusting to themselves.
They
you know?
do. They
But
do. Yeah.
it was a cool premise. I don't know if it warranted as many books as it did,
Mhm.
and then it gave Arthur Studium a lot of stuff to live off of for a while.
Yeah.
But speaking of which, I haven't seen him at a con ever since Tablegate. But as far as hate reading goes, like my main example, which I brought up to you, was Red Lanterns. I remember if you go back to like the early episodes, I still remember like way back when Justin was talking about Red Lanterns and how it was one of the biggest disappointments. Which I mean, at the beginning it was like okay, and then it got pretty awful pretty quickly. But I have every issue. I read every issue of Red Lanterns, and like toward the end it got pretty good.
Mhm.
Like with Guy Gardner showing up, and like some characters like even like sacrifice themselves, and you're
Mm-hmm.
like, no,
Yeah, yeah.
like so like in the middle, I hate Reddit. And I was like, guys, whatever. You know, I'll read it last because it's not whatever.
Yeah, it's at the
And at
bottom of
the
the
end, it got pretty
stack.
good. Um, and then others like it sucks because a lot of my hate reads are all DC books. Like um, up until a couple weeks ago, the new Green Lantern book, Green
Mm-hmm.
Lanterns, excuse me, um, I absolutely despised. Although it's getting a little bit better with the Phantom Ring right now.
Hmm.
Probably because when
All right.
anything that deals with like when they bring in the rest of the emotional spectrum, I tend to really dig. But
Yeah, yeah.
and the current Justice League book is completely losing me. Like I have no idea what's going on with that. Like,
Um,
but I still buy it. I buy, like I can't stop buying Green Lantern books because like it also turns into like just a stupid, useless, like it's not a pride thing, but like I've bought every issue of Green Lantern ever since I started reading comics.
yeah, yeah.
You're like, what am I going to do? Stop buying Green Lantern?
And then when it gets good again, you're gonna have this gap. Ugh.
Exactly, and it'll drive me fucking crazy.
So speaking of that kind of thing, I love the Thunderbolts. The original Thunderbolts, the Mark Bagley, and then like when they became Dark Avengers, I liked all that. And all their offshoots and everything. And then I like when the team spreads out and goes to other books. It's great. But there's a new Thunderbolts that started again in 2016 with like Winter Soldier running the team when at the end of Original Sin, Winter Soldier was supposed to be take over the job of Nick Fury and protect the universe from everything. They called him the man on the wall, and he would just watch everything. He was like took the place of the Watcher, but then actually did stuff. But someone was like, "Meh, I want to use a Winter Soldier, so we're gonna forget that happened." And now he's running the Thunderbolts, and and the the new artist on Thunderbolts is a Rob Liefeld clone, and
Yikes.
I hate Rob Liefeld, but I still want to support the Thunderbolts, so
Right.
I still buy the book. So what's happening is I'm reading the book not to enjoy it, but to look at everything that's horrible. And like it's not even really being written well. So I'm a few issues behind, but like so get this. There's some kind of fight because I wasn't sure what happened after Battle World and Secret Wars because something happened to the
Right.
Cosmic Cube. And so the Cosmic Cube became a sentient little girl, and Winter Soldier has that now because she lives at the base of the Thunderbolts, and
Okay.
Atlas is alive again somehow, and I think the Fixer's alive again, even though he exploded at but the art's really bad. And I can't stand it. And I'm like, why are all these people alive and together? I guess I mean, there's a story that explains it, but that was in a book that like I didn't know came out. And this is at the same time where Red Skull used the Cosmic Cube to convince Captain America he's been Hydra the whole time he's been alive. Because why does he have the Cosmic Cube? I thought the Cosmic Cube was at the Thunderbolts base because she has a name now. It's a little girl. But so it's in two places. Who has it? What's Marvel Comics? But I want more Thunderbolts books. So,
Right.
So I'm going to pay money for these because that's how I show that there needs to be more. But I hate what they are right now. Anyway.
I feel you. I feel your pain. I get it. I get it because it's the same way. Like I was a big fan. I mean, I've talked about it on the show before. Like when Powering was gone, and now is her name Jessica Cruz? Is that her name, Jessica Cruz?
Yeah.
The newest Green Lantern. I was like, yo, she's rad.
Mm-hmm.
And then like in the new book, she's just portrayed as like an oh my god, like OMG, I can't do this. Oh my god, like they just constantly refer back to that plot point. I'm like, okay, I'm kind of over this right now. Like I love her character design, but it's losing me. But What else is there? As far as like hating something and forcing your way through it,
Mm-hmm.
that's not necessarily a comic book.
Mm-hmm.
The most recent memory, there was a video game that I
I've got a
hate
couple.
finished.
Yeah.
I just like at the beginning it was okay, so it's like a partial fizzle, but like toward the end of that the last half of this game, I was just playing it so I could say I finished it and then I could sell it on eBay. Um, and that was Black Ops 3,
Hmm.
like the campaign.
Is that the most recent one? Yeah.
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 Yeah, with the robots.
Right. I haven't even finished that.
Yeah, it was I had to go online and be like, what the shit just happened in Black Ops 3? And
Oh, like the
even like the
storyline?
articles that yeah, like even the articles that I found that were like, okay, so here's what really happened in Black Ops 3. Even the articles that I found were like, so we think this is what they meant. Like there's still like I couldn't get like a clear definition of like what the because like the Black Ops games are great for like that big twist.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know, like at the end of the or halfway through the first Black Ops games, like one of the main characters gets killed.
Yeah.
Jackson, I think his name was, and then like the no Russian thing where they
Mm-hmm.
knew you were the spy the whole time,
Mm-hmm.
and um, accidentally killing like one of your own and all that stuff. Like they're pretty heavy on like the misdirection,
Yeah.
but like they went in the third one. Like I mean, it was a beautiful game. The mechanics were mostly fun, like the missions for the most part. The robots were a bitch, but
Future guns. So
yeah,
future.
future guns, very future, much future guns. But like the actual story, I was like, what the fuck is happening? It got to the point where I was just following like, you know, you just go to the yellow dot, and it's like, okay, I got here. Now what do I do?
Do I shoot things? Yes.
I don't know why I'm here. I don't know what the objective is, but I'm guessing I have to shoot shit.
The Captain America game, the first Avenger. I think I played it for PS3. It was bad. It was just really bad. Like I can't even like explain the details of why it was so bad. It was just a struggle all around. And like it became very cliche to the point where it's like, oh, I already know what I have to do next. I have to go disarm da 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 da. And then like the fights you get in, it's like it was just like dumb bad guys, and it was
It's like the first Assassin's Creed, just very formula like now you have to assassinate this person. So you ride your horse and you go there and you assassinate him. Now you must assassinate this person. So you ride your horse and you sneak around and you assassinate him. Like everyone says, like, and I've said it to other people too, because Assassin's Creed 2 and like what else did I play? I think I played Brotherhood. I can't remember. Um, they were great games. Revolutions, was that one of them? I loved those games,
mhm.
but I kept telling people like you just power your way through the first one. Like just get through it. Like, and that happened with Uncharted too. Like I could not finish the first Uncharted game, and then Colin was like, "Okay, I'm just gonna tell you what happens, and now we're gonna play Uncharted 2." And Uncharted 2 is like one of the best games I've ever played. That game was
Oh yeah,
awesome.
yeah, yeah. 2 was my first one. I never played the first one. I played 2 and 3, and those were great.
Yeah, four was excellent too. 4 was Uncharted with pirates. I mean, come on.
With 2, that was like my first purchase of like a nice flat screen TV to get like to use the graphics worth having on the PS3, and
Right.
like I would just stop and look around because it was beautiful.
Yep. That game was awesome.
I was like, "Ma, come here. Look, look at what this looks like. I'm in Tibet. It's great."
This is a video game. Remember video games? Back when we thought like blocky,
Mario.
orangutan Mario was like, holy shit, it's 3 dimensional.
Um, so I've brought it up a bunch of times, but never like actually talked about it. You know where I'm gonna go, and it's probably because I was just really bad at it, but I couldn't finish Last of Us. I couldn't deal with Last of Us. And I'm the minority.
Which
I understand this. All my friends love it because it's a great game, and they will buy art from it, and they will get each other
literally
pins,
all your
and
friends.
and they'll buy posters of it because it's great, and they're excited for Last of Us 2. And I'm like, I don't. Yo, this game's dumb.
This game's stupid.
It didn't work for me. But then again, so.
I was about to launch into my usual, that's fair. But I'm like, nah, no, I don't get it. I'm just so biased, and I just I'm one of those people that has to like force Last of Us down everyone's throat because I enjoyed it so much. I need you to enjoy it too.
I think I was
like when
at some point I said something like, "So when does this game end? Like, am I almost to the end?" And
you were like,
Brett was the one that brought up. It's like, well, you have to do all the seasons, and I'm like, there's 4 seasons. I haven't made it through one season yet.
that was like one of because like the game, at least for me, it was not short, and I loved it.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I can't remember how far you got, but I was like, oh, you're still toward like the beginning. you're getting there, I guess. But
I'm like, there's 5 clickers in here, and they're gonna be like, you're gonna be thankful when there's only 5 clickers. And I'm like, no, don't tell me that.
Oh man, I like that game a lot.
I made a weapon. The weapon was used once, and now it can't be used ever again. Oh, good. I'm glad it really.
Okay. Just gotta get the materials to build it again.
Yeah. I think I've said it before. The books Top 10 by Alan Moore. I love those books. There's one that's not written by Alan Moore, and that's the one called Beyond the Farthest Precinct, and it was terrible. I hated it so much. And it's like it was a travesty that it had the same name and had the same characters that were so well written and they were drawn so well. Like the art was still good, but it was just a bad premise, and I didn't care about anything that happened because it just wasn't a good story. So if you ever read Top 10, read Volume 1 of the trade, read Volume 2. I think it's called The 45ers was a good one. And then they made like a couple issues later on by a different writer. I think Xander was a writer on like a second volume, and those were good. But if you pick up Beyond the Farthest Precinct, put it back down. Don't even open it up.
You're welcome.
And eventually, anything that happened with the Ultimate Universe was bad.
Right. That's one that I had debated bringing up, but I couldn't really say much about it because I only heard about because like the straight up Ultimates book, like the Ultimates.
Yeah.
Like because I've read the first Ultimates, which is 2 trades, and then the second Ultimates is 2 trades, correct? And then there's Ultimates 3, which apparently is dog shit from what I hear.
Yeah. Yeah.
Speaking of which, my dog just barked. That couldn't have been timed any better. That was amazing.
A while ago, I think I said something about it on my Facebook, and Josh from Koi Proxy had chimed in, and we were both like going back and forth on all the things that went wrong with it.
I remember that.
It started off really strong, and in the idea in your head of what the Ultimate Universe was supposed to be started breaking down, and things started happening, which it was a lot. It was just, this shouldn't be what's happening right now. Like the Ultimate Captain America wouldn't allow this, and this is what they're going to do with Ultimate X-Men now, and I guess we're just going to sit through it and go with that, even though I have no idea why it's happening. But I stuck to it because Ultimate Spider-Man was still pretty good because Bendis was in charge of that. But more and more things were happening, and like the entire country broke into civil war, and there was like different sections. It's like, oh yeah, sure, this is what I want to see happen. Like, I'm sure Hydra will take over the northern Midwest for some reason, and a lot of it didn't make sense anymore, and they were just doing dumb stuff to it. It was just getting Stupid. Is that you? What is that? Is that me?
Oh, are you still there?
Yeah.
There you are.
Yeah.
Oh,
I don't know
I
how.
lost you for like a solid 45 seconds there.
I'm still here.
Well, I guess it's good that it's pretty much at the end here.
You were beeping funny. Towards the end of the Ultimates universe, it was just like Spider-Man was still kind of neat, but so much other stuff was just going wrong, and it was repeating plots. I'm trying to think of one or two. Evil Reed Richards makes this city to evolve everyone a lot faster and make them the super people of the world. And the Ultimates and the Avengers and Nick Fury are like, well, we should go stop them. So let's send in a team, and the team gets beat. And it's like, well, we'll send in a different team, and the team gets beat. And we're like, well, time to drop Hulk. And Hulk just gets assimilated and turned against everyone else. Now he's fighting the rest of the people. It's like, well, okay, that was a bad idea. So then Galactus shows up. And the Ultimate Galactus is like smaller technology that just takes you over and turns you into a Galactus robot zombie thing. And so he's based in one spot. So they send in one team and they get beat. They send in a second team and they get beat. And they're like, well, time to drop Hulk. And the Hulk gets assimilated and turns against the rest of the guys. Because that just
sounds familiar.
It just happened 6 months ago. And like, there's no Ultimates editor. It's like, that's a bad idea because we just did that. We did that literally 100 days ago. Maybe the writer should do some writing and not do the same. That was angry.
Comics. This is the first. I don't want to. I was gonna say overwhelmingly negative, but I guess that's just. It was a gripe. It was a bitch. It was we spent our entire respective mornings shoveling hundreds of pounds of snow, and it's like, you know what? I really didn't dig Civil War.
Well, I'm sure other fans have the same thoughts. So if they would oblige us,
I would like to hear.
If they would oblige us, tell us on Twitter or Facebook or
Twitter. Twitter, of course, is at OMV Podcast. Facebook is facebook.com/opinions may vary. I'll be posting this episode literally within the next hour or so. So if you have your opinions on, if you think our opinions are stupid, you can let us know. Or if you have your own opinions on books that you thought were, they started out strong and then they fizzled, or if you read a book, or even books that you just fucking dig.
Mm-hmm.
Let us know. If you think we should be reading a book, tell us.
If you want to tell me that I'm wrong about Last of Us, go ahead. Do that too. That's okay.
Oh, yeah, it's pointless because we've already done it. Hundreds. Me, Colin, and Joe have berated Alex at length. But he's a champ. He's a trooper. He owns his opinion. You know. So
I know where I stand.
There we go.
So
on the wrong side. So
I kind of want to keep going, but we should be done. Because it's almost a different topic.
Okay.
And so Astro City, which is a Dark Horse book, it's one of those books that you don't know what to expect every time because it's not like other things you're reading, and it's done in a certain way where it makes it different from other comic books, and I appreciate that. So it's never really a letdown, but it's always something that I'm dedicated to consuming more of. And at the same point, there was this book that Marvel put out under their Soleil line. So it's Soleil, Soleil. They had a couple series, and it's basically
Cirque du Soleil.
Yeah. Because every once in a while Marvel will do this this additional imprint of something different, with their Icons line, which was it wasn't a straight up Marvel book. It was a Marvel something else book. But there was a while where they were trying to do more international artists and international writers and people that weren't just Americans and kind of thing. And so these two hardcovers that I got, they were in premium format edition. and it's called Scourge of the Gods. And if you've ever picked up a heavy metal magazine, which basically has a lot of art in it, but it's a lot of like smaller stories from different artists, or it's usually a chapter of an illustration or a comic book or a graphic novel that gets you to buy the bigger graphic novel, or even the digital version or something like that. If you've ever looked in one of those heavy metal magazines, you've seen the art in this book. I'm going to try and pronounce these names. So Valerie Mangan and Alexa Gajic. It's one of those things where like I didn't know what to expect from it, and as I was reading it, I hadn't encountered something like it before, so I didn't have any preconceived notions, and this way nothing was cliche to me.
Right.
Which is tough to find in the comic book medium. So so it's not like it let me down. It's like, I don't know what's happening, but I'm still digging it.
Which is refreshing.
But at the same point, it wasn't enough to like solidify it in my keep pile, because it's in my maybe I'll sell this bin.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, I don't necessarily like, if I miss an issue, I'm not going to get upset. I guess I can just get the trade.
Mm-hmm.
Which
maybe,
is the definition of my comic book collecting.
Maybe I'll borrow it from a friend.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, that was fun.
So I just wanted to put those two out there. They don't really fall under the hate reading, but it's like, what are this? Do I want keep read?
Maybe. But
yeah.
If you have similar shit in mind, feel free to let us know. Hopefully this method of recording worked. It looks like I think the snow has finally stopped, which is nice. But hopefully next week we'll be back to our regularly scheduled routine, where we can, like, I'm still adjusting to not being there. Like, this is the first time I've ever recorded an episode without my mic in front of my face. I'm
not going to tell you if I'm using it or not. So.
Well, you posted the picture on the Facebook earlier.
Oh, I did. I gave it away. Well, that joke's dead.
Oh, that's great. We'll pretend it didn't happen. But yeah, if you thought we're stupid, let us know. If you had your own opinions of books that you dug or didn't dig or hate Reddit, let us know. And all that stuff. Can you tell I'm tired? Is it there?
Yeah.
I shoveled a lot of snow today, Alex. We're transitioning into After Dark right now, and I'm just kind of rambling. Really, I could be saying, okay, we should probably finish up. So,
hey, it's almost Christmas, so if you want to get anyone a gift, you could buy them a really cool Opinions May Vary pin.
Yeah, and if you're local, you don't even need to get it shipped, maybe. But if you want a pin, you can hit us up. By the way, these aren't buttons; they're pins.
No, they're not. They're metal. Yeah. They're shiny.
They're fucking awesome. If I do say so myself.
Email me at Alex. I'm glad I messed that up. Email me at alex@omvpodcast.com.
Email them. Get yourself a pin. They're rad. They're limited. So it's the only batch of pins ever made by us, at least so far. Mm-hmm. So they're like V1. They're 1.0.
Yeah, totally.
They're the first run, limited edition. So
let's not push it too much. Just
grab yourself. Hey, that's how you make sales, man. You gotta put it all in caps on eBay. Limited edition. People go, what? Obviously, it's rare. Anyways, so that's gonna do it for this one. Hope you all enjoyed. Until next week, I am JR.
I'm Alex.
And this has been, whoops. Oh, man, I closed my notes. What episode is this? Episode 248.
It's 248.
Of Opinions May Vary.